Good afternoon or even good morning for some of you. Maybe briefly, my name is Thomas, one of the founders here at Luzmo, formerly Cumulaio, responsible for all things commercials like sales and customer success. And today, very excited to be on the call with Juan Carlos, based out of Madrid. Maybe I'll let you just introduce yourself, Juan, with a webinar on our joint partnership on how they deployed analytics over the last years and then what their plans are going forward. Juan, very warm welcome. Maybe a brief intro from yourself.
Thank you for the introduction. Really happy to be here with you to share with all of you our experience. Looking forward for the webinar, and I hope that you guys can really get some support or answers to your doubts or questions about this topic.
Great. Let's get things going. I'll have a quick intro for all of you, very briefly, on what our vision and what our view is and what we've seen in the market when it comes to deploying analytics, and with a specific focus today, or a little bit of focus on the HR tech space. And that's also why we have Juan Carlos, who's on the product team with Kenjo. And then we'll hand it over to him. So we'll take over the presentation and really focus on the product side, on the journey they had, the changes they've done, but also the focus, the vision, and the impact they foresee going forward with their analytics journey. Very briefly, what are the challenges we at Luzmo? For those not too familiar with Luzmo or formerly Cumulaio, we changed names a couple of months ago. We focus on all things analytics, reporting inside other software and SaaS applications, with a goal to really unburden workload of your engineering, even product team, and get to the market faster. What are challenges we've seen? I think it's about a year and a half ago, we've done some in-depth research in a number of SaaS verticals. One of them was HR software. One of the resources we've used is G2. You might know the software comparison platform. And there, 72% of the reviews we've picked up from HRIS systems basically displayed challenges of difficult to use reporting, dashboarding features, going from too clunky, too many clicks to do before getting to insights they were looking for, to time consuming. They want to have more filter customization options, not getting to the right insights in a short amount of time. And oftentimes they had to export, you might know the feeling, to a CSV in Excel to then run your pivot table inside your potentially more familiar Excel environment. And that's linked to a couple of struggles that we see. Legacy tooling, there's not really the reach or the older tools or platforms you've been using before offering those options eventually outside of your platform. Lack of resources, not having the right people or the right amount or number of people to get to there. And also, like in many cases, a lot of priorities where the insights and the analytics don't really at the top of your list. And that's basically also leading to those 72% what we researched and got to the numbers just before. That's why we also started Cumulaio Luzmo 7-8 years ago, really to get to those insights faster, especially for your end users. Really from the left-hand side here, more tabular, more rigid reporting to some more flexible, interactive on the right-hand side. And there, like I've mentioned before, that we can launch faster, iterate faster, eventually also to non-technical people. So there's a one-time technical setup. You can really unburden the technology or the technical team, let them focus on why they actually joined the SaaS platform they're working for, and have a higher engagement of HR users. Tailor those insights through the customer success, the product, but eventually maybe also through them themselves right inside your platform. And I'll hand it over to you, Juan Carlos. You have way more practical experience, obviously more interesting than what I just shared before on our research. So I'll hand it over to you. Excited to hear more.
Cool. Thank you very much, Thomas. I will also introduce a bit more myself. Like I mentioned, where I'm working at Kenjo. I'm part of the product team, leading this analytics area for the last couple of years. So I'm really happy to share with all of you a bit of a high-level overview of this journey. And basically, let me share my screen so I can
Maybe
also.
just very
Yeah,
brief one, Carlos. I forgot to mention, that's on me. If there's any questions, feel free to send them over. We have a chat here. I'll keep an eye on these and we'll keep some time at the end. But definitely drop in some questions and we'll keep, we'll make sure with Juan Carlos to answer these, especially at the end or maybe intermittently as well. It's all
yeah,
yours.
perfect. Thank you. So yeah, then what I was saying, basically, let me also introduce a little bit us, Kenjo. Kenjo is a SaaS platform. It's an all-in-one HR platform for SMB managing, trying to manage frontline workers for all industries. The idea is to have one single platform for where the companies can optimize the most important operations and processes regarding people management. We try to drive your HR department to be a key part of the success and the development of your employees. Connecting the deskless workers to their companies through a holistic mobile experience is our goal. But we also provide a solution, a desktop solution. We have several platforms, not only the mobile. In terms of numbers, we have more than 1,000 companies today, 40,000 employees. We operate in 5 markets, but our core market is Germany, close to 15 different nationalities. Our headquarters is based on Berlin, but we also have an office in Madrid. So let's start then on this journey, trying to understand our customer needs, why we get to this project. Out of many interviews we had with our customers, analyzing the NPS surveys, talking also internally in our teams, gathering feedback from many different teams, account managers and support team. We found out that a common patterns on their needs on our customers regarding this area, this model. They always want to leverage the rich employee data that we have in Kenjo. They're looking for an integrated analytics feature within the platform. For them, they always complain about having, Thomas already mentioned, this path where you have to export the data and then manipulate the data to finally get to what you need, to what you want for your specific process. So we really want to leverage this thing without having this need. Obviously, the most important needs for them is to have in one place these meaningful insights that potentially can drive you to take decisions, to follow the best practices, start new initiatives because of that. So yeah, basically, whatever we can have in one place to bring the best key relevant information as better for them. We also find out that most of them request customizations. They always want some specific things. So sometimes what we think is enough for them, it is not. And the control, they want to retain the control of the data to be able to manage their own analysis and to drive what they need. But it's, again, I will highlight, they always, the key factor on this topic is to have everything in one place, to not have to manipulate these things from many different applications, environments, let's say. Why we finally partnered with Luzmo? Well, out of all these requirements, we started a huge research. We also, as you can imagine, we decided and we analyzed the possibility to develop and to continue to develop our custom reporting tools. But that was not a great idea by that time in terms of effort, resources, and it was quite impossible to really get what we want to be in the short term. So looking at the market, we really partner with Luzmo through several key factors. One of them was the plug and play solution. For us was a swift launch in terms of the dashboards with the minimal development effort in our end. We have a technical team that we ran a proof of concept on this topic, really successful, and it was easy for us to quickly launch a few set of dashboards with a minimal development in this integration between the APIs. The second big topic was the embedded solution, that to be able to have this integration directly in Kenjo so we can eliminate the need for these teams to navigate to a separate reporting tool. For us was critical. The user experience can be inside the same platform, and yeah, that was a key factor for us. One other really important thing was to ensure that Kenjo maintains and control the data that we display, the control around what we see. So as you can imagine, before moving forward on this project, we already had developed several functionalities around profiles and permissions, sometimes settings of visibility in the application. We didn't want to maintain this thing in replicating this data all over the two platforms and this integration. So for us, it was really important to have the control of the data that was shown in the dashboards without having the need to replicate, to integrate about the profiles and permissions topic. One other fact, as I mentioned before, we operate in 5 markets. Out of this thing, we operate in 3 different languages. So obviously, if this solution couldn't support multilingual languages for us, it was impossible to implement this solution. And finally, but really important as well for us, was that out of this initial meetings, conversation, proof of concept that we did for this project, we really found out a strong team on Luzmo supporting us, super proactive, trying to always help us on whatever we need to move forward on this project. Out of this collaboration, all these things that we show, the outcome today is that we already have more than 30 dashboards powered by Luzmo in our platform. It was not easy, but I think that it was super successful. And now we're also moving back to this project, and we will move a bit forward on it. I will explain you after the demo that I want to show you today. I want to drive you through a couple of scenarios, use cases that we have in Kenjo. But I will also mention a little bit of our future next steps that we want to implement on this project. So let me share a little bit of our platform. So as I mentioned, Kenjo is a SaaS application, so you just have to log in. This is our platform, the homepage, and here, as you can imagine, we have several product areas, models regarding the HR world that you can use, the calendar, time off, documents, recruiting model, time off, attendance. All these models, obviously, all the data that you can generate on our application is what we will want to be able to use in our dashboards. If you look at our settings, you can find one specific area for profiles and permissions. Into the profiles and permissions, what we did just as a first step of this topic, we have generated 3 different sections that can basically filter which kind of dashboard dashboard you will have access or not. And also for us was a bit important the permission about exporting the data. Sometimes the people don't really want to give the access, the permissions to export the data that you see in the dashboard. So we implement that permission as well in here. As I mentioned, this is the first step. Obviously, we can really go farther, go one level down, and get to a specific permission set for each dashboard. But for now, we just did it as a group. The second topic about this visibility is
If
that,
I can, Juan Carlos, if I can step
yeah,
in before,
sure.
I see also people joining from multiple countries, and you mentioned before multilingual dashboards for your audience as well. Where do you manage that multilingual aspect? Is that part also done here, or is that more on the dashboarding side?
No, no, it's actually that's a good. It's integrated actually. So in Kenjo, we have a profile as an employee, as a user.
Yep.
Into the profile, you have the option to change the language,
Mhm.
and based on this setting, we drive actually the dashboard that we will show in the right language, in the
Thanks.
right.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the way we resolve that thing.
Great. Thank you.
So basically, what I wanted to show as well is that we have a bit of settings regarding this area. This is the analytics module. So if we go to the settings for the analytics, we can also activate or deactivate this module in case that we don't want to show this at all. And to go further, we also we're adding the settings about this new project about the dashboards, so we can enable, disable this section as well. This will open for us the option to monetize a little bit this in the future, in terms that we want to bring this solution based on your license. You will understand better when I explain a little bit the next steps about this project for us. So let's then jump directly to some kind of examples. So if we go to the analytics, to the dashboard section, what we can find in here is the list of 36 dashboards that Luzmo provide with us in this integration. You have a list of dashboards with a couple of categories. Obviously, you can filter by these categories, by these types, to find the dashboard that you may need, or you can just search for a specific dashboard. So once you have the dashboard, you just have to click on there. Well, actually, what we also include some kind of explanation in case that you want to understand what is this dashboard about. So yeah, that's more or less the functionality for now about the dashboards list. So let's start, for example, with the recruiting model. So I found this dashboard quite interesting. Is the job opening with candidates. So basically, in here, we always use more or less the same structure. So we have the title, short description, our icon, and then we introduce components, filtering components. So you can, based on this criteria, we can basically show your different pipelines, stage, status, or job openings, etc. We then continue with this stage funnel component, this visual representation about these candidates. You could really identify the bottlenecks, things that can drive you to take a decision because of this. And this is quite interactive as well, so we can use this component as a filter. So in case that I want to filter for people in the second interview, I just can click there, and the dashboard can work with that filter. So then we also continue with, for example, let's imagine that I select this specific job position. I filter for this job position. I can understand now the whole thing about this position. So as you can see, we have 3 candidates in total. 2 were rejected, 1 was hired, and we can understand the time to hire based on the creation and the hired date of that specific candidate. We also can understand the origin, the source of our candidate. So as you can imagine, for the hiring team, all this information is critical to understand how these processes are moving forward or not, if they have to take decisions and be really proactive and reactive about these things. One more thing to mention, this is the functionality that I mentioned about exporting data. So sometimes this is a common pattern that we use in our dashboards. We use always a table at the end that the people can really use to download this data in case that they want to manipulate this out of Kenjo. But sometimes, because this could be a potential risk or something that you don't want for a specific team, you can actually control that by that permission, so they won't be able to download that data. They can just use the export action as a PDF, basically, and it's a printable version of the dashboard, as you can see. Okay, and then with this specific file, you can share it and do whatever you need in your daily basis with this process.
Just being briefly conscious of time, indeed, you have a number of dashboards you could share. There's one that's often, most often used. You told me earlier, Juan Carlos.
Exactly. Yeah. Then I was actually going to show you the turnover rate. I will go a bit faster. This is a totally different type of dashboard. In this case, we use a similar thing. We have some kind of filtering components in here, but instead of so basically we run a calculation of a rate based on the data from the filter. So for example, previous year we have this turnover rate in yellow. Previous quarter we have this in green. So based on the calculation, we can drive this look and this nice component look and feel that can drive you to take a decision. And then I also want to share the time of cart balance dashboard. This is the most popular dashboard right now in Kenjo, because at the end of the year, you can imagine that the people wants to understand how are they doing based on the balance of their time off, moving from one cycle to another. So if I filter by holidays, the product team, and then I just filter by this current cycle, you see how easy it is for me to understand my whole team, the time of balance of these cycles. I can see the total allowance, the taken, the planned, available days. We can drive into the pivot table, nice, and this component visual effects that can let me know if I'm positive, negative, etc. And in the future, in the short term, we will also open the option to click in here in the people and navigate to Kenjo profile of this person. Okay. And yeah, more or less that's it for today. So, but as you can imagine, we have many different dashboards from all HR processes like overtime, payroll, etc.
Great, lovely to see those in action here, Juan. Maybe like you mentioned earlier in the call, in the webinar, how do you look towards 2024? What are plans moving forward? Mentioning there's also a question from Sinead. We'll get to it in a second. But you also shared that you have some further steps in mind to bring
Exactly.
some flexibility to your end users.
Yeah, we are actually running a project, an initiative about this model. It's called, we call this the variance. So basically, we will bring the possibility to our end users to build their own version of these core dashboards that we see. For now, in this first stage, they will only use our core data sets, is Kenjo data. But they will be able to build their own version of the dashboard, their own variants, and then also publish this version for the whole company. So all the people will use that instead of our proposal, let's say. So that is already in progress.
Do
We
we
will
remain inside the Kenjo platform then? Those users will all, the experience for them will always be in a Kenjo environment. Yeah.
always inside. We will create this embedded solution. We will use this Luzmo embedded editor that will really bring this option for us. So the end user will be into Kenjo. We don't have to navigate to another platform at all. So that's the idea about the first stage. And then as a further, and then when we finish with this one, the idea is move to the second stage, which is the full solution, where our customers can really build new dashboards from the scratch.
Hmm.
connect new data sets. And obviously, because this is a huge thing, we want to also work on the creation of an analytics squad internally that to be able to support this customers model, and also to provide some kind of professional services where we can support their needs. Because as you can imagine, not all of these customers will have the possibility or
Of
resources
course.
for this topic.
Sure. Sure. Maybe I'll pick. There's a question, and thanks, Sinead, for sharing your question. Does the software integrate with other HRIS platforms? If so, how many? Maybe I'll take it briefly from our end, Juan Carlos, and then I have a question from you from Tom.
Mhm.
Um, so by default, we are data agnostic, Sinead. What does that mean? In Kenjo's case, Luzmo connects on the underlying data infrastructure of Kenjo itself. So it's basically the data that their users generate on a daily, weekly basis. We do also have the possibility to connect with other data sources, where we could connect and build, for example, connector with other HRS platforms that really define if that data is available and easily accessible, and also if that's a connector that we could potentially build together. So by default, we have a lot of database connectors available, but not necessarily a whole, let's say, family of other connectors where we could work with a partner, for example. And secondly, briefly, how many languages does the software support? Interestingly, we have, for example, customers who have dashboards in Chinese and even in Arabic. We have some customers in Middle East, so it's pretty flexible in that perspective. I think by default, don't know the number by heart, but we can go to a wide range of customers as long as when translating the dashboards, you would have the transcriptions available. So that would be something we could easily support. Just natively, there are four languages when it comes to the user experience. When you're dashboarding yourself, there are these four languages that are by default available. And then a question maybe for you. I see we're going towards the end, Juan Carlos. Um, does every customer have access to these dashboards by default, or do you segment them by license specifically, Juan Carlos?
Yeah, no, every customers have access to this core set of dashboards today.
Hmm. Hmm.
What we are thinking is on this next phase, next stage of the project. So about the variants and the full editor, it's something obviously that we will only include in our highest license.
Hmm. Sure. So you mentioned also before in the variants, which is some limited extra flexibility, and then the full
Exactly.
editor, mind segments, extra license or modules that we offer to your end users.
Correct.
Great.
Yeah.
It seems like we have perfectly practiced or put everything together for this webinar in terms of timing. We're right on time. Really appreciate all the effort you put in sharing your story with us. Thanks a lot, Juan Carlos. Muchas gracias, and
You're welcome.
have a great afternoon back there in Madrid. And to all of you, thanks for joining. We have it recorded, so you can definitely also have a relook if you like later on this week or month. Have a great
Thank
afternoon.
you.
Bye,
Bye
everybody.
bye.